live. You see they're dry. You see there's no marrow in the bone. You see they're scattered all over the valley. They ain't even full skeletons. I mean, the bones are scattered all over the valley. They're just bones. But answer me a question, Ezekiel. Can these bones live? Ezekiel answers the only way he knows how to answer. Lord, you know. Critical race theory was born out of critical legal theory. Am I teaching y'all something today? There emerged two common beliefs linking all critical race theories. First, white supremacy has subordinated black people and other people of color. That's just a fact. How in the world are you going to fight against that being taught in any school? White supremacy has subordinated black people and other people of color. That's a fact. Why don't you want that to be taught in school? You let your schools teach us that Columbus discovered America. That's a lie. You let your schools teach us that George Washington couldn't tell a lie. That's a lie. You let your schools teach us that some slave owners were beneficent and good slave owners. There were no good slave owners. Anybody who owned people was evil. That's a lie. You let your schools teach us that Abraham Lincoln was good for Negroes. No, Abraham Lincoln was trying to save the Union. And Abe Lincoln himself said if he could save the Union and keep black people in chains, he would do it. That's a lie. Come on, somebody. You let them teach us about a white Jesus. You let them teach us that Native Americans were the aggressors. Come on, somebody. That white folk had a manifest destiny and that the pilgrims were good to Native Americans. That's a lie. All day, every day, you let them teach us lies. All throughout my history in school, I was taught lies. But you got a problem with critical race theory because it teaches the truth that white supremacy has subordinated black people and people of color. The right to bear arms. Let me just back up a little bit and let me take you on back to the late 1960s when Ronald Reagan was the governor of California. And they were oppressing black folk, and a group of men and women known as the Black Panther Party decided that they were going to defend the rights of black folk. And the Black Panthers decided that the Second Amendment wasn't just for white folk. So they strapped themselves with guns and showed up at the Capitol in California. And when they saw them Negroes with guns, come on, somebody. That's why I say if you ever really want to get gun laws changed, just strap all these Negroes up. They'll change them laws before the week is over. When the Black Panthers, watch this, I want you to read, the California legislator passed what was called the Mulford Act. It was a gun control act that decided who could get guns, who couldn't get guns, what could be in your background, what couldn't be in your background. It was the first time in history that the National Rifle Association, the NRA, supported restrictive gun legislation, all because black folk had the nerve to get strapped. Look at your neighbor and say, neighbor, go get strapped. Amen, somebody. Y'all gonna say Bishop told us to get strapped. I said it. Go get strapped. It just got real quiet up in here. But y'all already know I'm a triple P. Amen. Y'all know what a triple P is, right? A pistol packing preacher. Amen, somebody. Thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Jesus. You've got a responsibility to go back. Hey, family. Good morning. Happy Monday. We finally got some snow out here in New England, and I am not happy about it. Don't pull up the ladder because you climbed to the top. Don't blow up the bridge because you made your way across. Not happy at all. Thank you, Jesus. But reach your hand back down the ladder and pull somebody else up out of Lodabar. Rep your city, rep your town. We pull that out. Just keep on messing me up. I'm going to just readjust. Rep your city, rep your town. Let me know where you are chiming in from, okay? Good morning, Houston. Good morning, Brother Smith. Morning from the 413. Yes. Brookhaven, Mississippi. That's where my peoples is from. Good morning, baby girl. I see you. Somebody said the color purple was a flop. Y'all agree with that? Put in your, throw in your opinion of the color purple. Somebody said it was a flop. Tell me what you think. Put it in the comment section. Tell me what you think of the color purple. All right. If you went to see it. Only if you went to see it. Okay. Somebody said it was a total flop. Let me get the exact words. Get the exact words, what they said. Colossal. They said it was a colossal flop. Tell me if y'all agree with that. Sometimes God got to strip what you got so you don't depend on yourself. You got to take away from you so you understand how to depend on El Shaddai. 90.7 WTCC. Good morning and welcome to the Spoken Word. I'm your host, Bishop Talbert Swan II. And as usual, we'll be telling it like it is through cultural idioms and nuances that shape the order, ethos, and chaos of the African-American experience. Words have their own vitality. They shape their own consciousness and create their own context for interpreting social and spiritual reality. The spoken word contains the power to reshape the landscape of society. 3 minutes past the hour of 9 a.m. Thank you to Mr. Kenneth Barnett for bringing us up until the 9 o'clock hour with the promise. You can hear the promise every Monday morning from 6 a.m. to 9 a.m., bringing you the best in gospel music. Good way to start out your Monday morning, a great way to start out your week. Good morning to everybody who's chiming in from everywhere. Everybody in the Pioneer Valley, the cold tundra of the Pioneer Valley, where we got, I don't know how many inches, but we got dropped on. We finally got that snowfall that came through like a Russian mighty wind. Yeah, still affecting some folks' commute even today. I'm a native New Englander, and I still don't like the snow. My daughter is leaving today, and my grandbaby back to Dallas, and she's up there looking out of the window, the bay window in the kitchen. It's so beautiful. Oh, it's so beautiful. And, you know, she was raised here, but she hasn't been here for many years now. um, I want to say 15, 17 years, however long it's been. She's been in Dallas. And I'm like, yeah, it's so beautiful to you when you're leaving. It's beautiful to folk who don't have to shovel it. Yeah, all that. Anyway, Good morning to you, each and every one of you. Listen, today we're talking about performative activism. Performative activism. I'll get your opinion on the situation with Ackman's wife. Talked a little bit about that on Friday. Being a plagiarist while he was busy trying to get Claudine Gay out. That had more to do with Zionism and perceived anti-Semitism than anything, but they used plagiarism as the excuse. Um, um, and I also want to get your opinion. One of my listeners on social media said the color purple was a colossal flop. Y'all can see it posted there. Those of you who are on the social media space, was a colossal flop. I want to know if you agree with that statement. What is your opinion of the color purple? I see Dallas, Texas in the house. I see them Carolinas in the house. I see Houston, Texas in the house. I see Baltimore in the house. I'm glad Baltimore's in the house. I'm glad Baltimore's in the house. I wish I had a broom in the studio. I wish I had a broom in the studio so I could sweep a little bit, because that's what the Steelers did to the Baltimore Ravens this season. Swept them. Woo! For all y'all who slept on Mike Tomlin, he need to be traded. He need to be fired. Yada, yada, yada. Another winning season and another playoff appearance. Okay? All of y'all haters that was hating on Mike Tomlin. I wish I wore my Steelers gear today like I did yesterday. But anyway, Steelers are in the big dance. So good morning, everybody from Baltimore. Baltimore in the building. Who else we got up in here? We got New Jersey in the building. We got Brookhaven, Mississippi up in the spot today, y'all. Raleigh, North Kakalaki, North Carolina is in the house. The 413 is representing. Houston is representing. Chicago is representing. Yes. Good morning. Good morning to each and every. I haven't even looked over here on the gram. I really need to look on the gram and see who's representing, because some of y'all ain't came in there. Well, you ain't representing. All right, tell me where you. I just got on the gram, so if you were commenting before that, I didn't see it. So go on and put it in there. I got England up in the building. On YouTube, tell me where you're representing. Put it in the comments in the Twitter space where you're representing. Rep your city, rep your town. Let me know where you are chiming in from. Also, put in the comments your opinion on the color purple. Okay? Somebody said it was a colossal. They didn't just say it was a flop. They said it was a colossal flop. There's a difference between a flop and a colossal flop. So let me know if you agree with that statement about the color purple or not. We'll chop it around a little bit. 413-736-2781. 413-736-2781 is the number here. Don't y'all go nowhere. We'll be right back. Don't stop. Can't stop. We'll be right back. The being in the road will be the end of the road if you refuse to change. Reach a little higher, reach a little higher, dig a little deeper, dig a little deeper, go a little further, go a little further. Come on, come on, come on. Reach a little higher, come on, yeah. Dig a little deeper, dig a little deeper, go a little further, go a little further. Come on, don't stop. The essence of life is growth. But the essence of growth is change. The being in the road will be the end of the road if you refuse to change. Your life will never change until you get disgusted with where you are. Whatever you don't hate is what you tolerate. You must learn from the past, plan for the future, and live for today. For it is your daily routine that determines your success or failure in life. It's the choices that you have made up until this point that will determine the rest of your life. So break the cycle that doing enough is simply good enough.
You only get out what you put in, so don't settle for the crumbs when you can have a whole.
All right, come on, y'all. Was color purple a flop? Yes or no?
Come on. Reach a little higher.
Dig a little deeper.
Dig a little deeper.
Go a little further.
Don't stop. Don't stop. Come on. Reach a little higher.
Reach a little higher.
Dig a little deeper.
Dig a little deeper.
Go a little further.
Go a little further.
Don't stop. Don't stop. Don't stop. Don't stop. So you gotta break the routine of trying to beat the system. Manipulators will always try to bypass the process for the quick progress. There are no shortcuts to success. There are no elevators to the top. You gotta take it one step at a time. You gotta break the routine of allowing others to get into your head to control who you are and where you're going. You see, when you're about the positive, you're gonna always have haters. But don't let your haters push you down, let your haters push you forward to the next level. So when people show you who they really are, don't perceive them to be something else that they're not. See, a zebra does not change his stripes, so you gotta keep pushing yourself to the next level. Yeah, there you go. Come on.
Dig a little deeper.
Come on. Yeah.
Go a little further.
Go a little further.
Don't stop.
Come on. Don't stop. Come on. Yeah.
Reach a little higher.
Reach a little higher.
Dig a little deeper.
Dig a little deeper.
Go a little further.
Go a little further. Come on. Come on. Come on. You gotta understand the greatness is the nature that you were born out of.
Greatness is the nature
Discover your greatness without hard work.
you were born out of.
Greatness says more about who you are.
Good morning, Los Angeles in the building. Yeah, y'all right. It is the first Monday in the new year.
The future. You just a step away.
The second Monday, actually.
You're just a step away.
Is it second Monday?
Step away.
The second Monday. Because New Year's Day was on the first.
You're almost there. Come on. You got to push yourself beyond your limitations.
Which was a Monday.
You see, there's no mountain too high.
Keep on moving.
You can
Keep on moving.
It's all in the power of your imagination.
Where y'all coming in from, Graham? Come on now.
You can do the impossible.
Rep your city. Yeah. Somebody said they don't mess with nothing Oprah. That mermaid. Don't mess with no Oprah. Detroit Kojic. I see you, Gary Ward. Connecticut. Detroit. Yeah. There's a blessing waiting on you right around the corner.
Blessings are coming your way.
All right, let's get it, y'all. Let's go.
I look in the mirror and I like what I see. A strong, beautiful black woman staring back at me. One who's seen a lot of pain and had her share of sorrow, but who never gave up hope for a brighter tomorrow. I've been lied to, cheated on, stolen from and hit, but it just made me stronger.
And I refuse to quit.
That's right. And though I've been tempted, I refuse to stoop to that.
All right, let me see what we got.
I was above that nonsense and made a liar of the devil. All right now. The devil who said I wasn't good enough.
We got a $1.73
I kicked his butt
on the gram.
Power that says I can do all things through Christ.
I don't know what we got on Facebook. Let me see.
And brought me out of darkness so that I could see that I'm smart, I'm beautiful.
We got 224
abundant love for me
on YouTube.
Yes. When I look in the mirror, I love what I see. She's looking good. That strong, beautiful black woman, that woman is me.
90.7 WTCC. Good morning to each and every one of you that are here in the 413 that are representing the Pioneer Valley. Good morning to each and every one of you in Massachusetts, Connecticut, New York, Vermont, wherever you are chiming in from. And then from all points across everywhere, on the World Wide Web. Good morning to each and every one of you. Glad to have you on this snowy Monday morning, at least here in Massachusetts. Not snowing right now, but it's all over the ground, y'all. It's all over the ground. Okay. Yeah, we got hit. And see, I was on my way to church and I had called that we were going to have church yesterday. And then when I got out there in it, I saw a truck spin out. Then I saw another car spin out, and I said, "Yeah, I might not want to have the Saints coming out in this." So we went ahead and did a virtual service instead. And I'm not one for canceling church. Um, we don't do that out here. I went out yesterday to get something to eat. My daughter was like, she's like I said, she's been in Dallas for like 17 years. Are they open? I said, yeah, this Springfield. This ain't Dallas. I know a half an inch closed Dallas down. But just because we got 10 inches of snow don't mean folks ain't opening the next day. We still do business in this. Just what we do in New England. Oh boy. Good morning. Let me see. Detroit. I got Detroit Kojic, Gary Ward on the gram. Connecticut is on the gram. Another Detroit is on the gram. What else we got here on the gram? Toronto, Canada in the building. Yeah, we got, let me see. Well, I see a Cleveland, Ohio in the building. Cleveland, Ohio. Steelers Nation. Let me put that one up. Yeah, Steelers Nation. Don't hate on the Steelers. I'm gonna leave that one up for a little bit. Happy 2024 for those of you who weren't with me last Monday on New Year's Day. I was here in the studio. Good morning from Los Angeles, California. California love. Y'all ain't answering my question on Color Purple. Now, come on now. Y'all must not have seen it. Pensauken, New Jersey is in the building. Y'all must not have seen it, right? Because y'all ain't answering the question. I asked y'all, was it a flop? I got one person saying it was a super flop. The rest of y'all acting like y'all ain't seen it. I know y'all seen it. I know y'all seen it. Y'all was all up in the theaters wearing purple. So stop playing with me. I see you, H-Town. Was Color Purple a flippity flop or not? What's your opinion on it? All right, throw it in the comments. Throw it in the comments. All right, somebody said it was a great movie. Come on, throw it in the comments. What's your thoughts on the Color Purple? Somebody on the gram said, I see them Carolinas in here. Somebody on the gram said they don't mess with nothing Oprah. Okay, I guess that's their opinion about Color Purple. They probably didn't even go see it. Orlando, Florida is in the building. New York City is in the building. Yes. Danielle made the movie for me. I think it was a flop. Okay. Somebody on the gram said it was a flop. Jackson, Mississippi is in the house. Somebody said they're waiting for the streaming. That mermaid said they don't get no coins from me. None. Oprah don't get no coins from me. All right. Lisa Starnes, First Lady Starnes, said Color Purple was wonderful. Wonderful. Okay. There you go. Somebody else said they're going to watch it on Netflix. Look at y'all, man. Look at y'all. All right. 413-736-2781. You told Hoppo to beat me? All right. Trying to get your opinion on the Color Purple. That's all. Somebody said it was a flop. I just wanted to see what y'all's opinion of it really was. That's all. That's all I was trying to do. All right. Listen. So I'm dealing with performative activism. Election season is in full swing, particularly um, conversations around the national presidential election that is coming up this November. Democrats are in trouble. We've been telling them that for 2 years. They've been playing like it wasn't true. And they just now waking up and realizing that Trump could wind up back in the White House. We got Democrats who are mad at people who are speaking the truth about the apathy of Democrats, their lack of an agenda that satisfies the concerns of Black people. And they're accusing anybody who criticizes Democrats of being a plant for the Republicans. And get it, the people who are frustrated with the Democrats, it ain't because they support Trump. It's because Democrats need to be criticized. I mean, come on. You don't support genocide and then tell people who have been the victims of discrimination their whole lives and their ancestors, the victims of genocide, that they need to be quiet and not criticize that. And that's just the tip of the iceberg. That's not including all of the other stuff. And we had a lot of, from 2020, I look at this timetable from the time this particular administration came into power in 2020. They came in with a House of Representatives in their favor. They came in with the Senate in their favor. And they did stuff for everybody but Black people. And I know we're not even going to get into the conversation of but cinema, Manchin. Yeah. See, they didn't hold cinema and Manchin accountable. See, there were all kinds of things that could have been done with cinema and Manchin that the Democrats didn't do. So let's just keep it a buck. When y'all want to blame cinema and Manchin for tanking Biden's agenda and not getting the George Floyd Justice and Policing Act passed or the John Lewis Voting Rights Act passed or anything passed that was relative to Black people, let's really deal with what they could have done. Okay? Because they could have held cinema and Manchin accountable. Joe Biden could have pulled in cinema and Manchin and said, hey, listen, I'm going to need y'all to get with the program. And if you don't, here's the consequences. Okay? He could have made one phone call to the DNC and said, hey, no DNC money for cinema or Manchin. Okay? Because, these folks get money from the Democratic National Convention and stuff when they run their campaigns. He could have pulled DNC support, DNC money. He could have had leadership pull their committee assignments. They could have threatened to bankroll someone to primary them and put the DNC money behind them. These are all the things that the Republicans would have done if they had some Republican detractors. You don't believe me? The Republicans just got rid of their own Speaker of the House. Okay? So you can't tell me that Democrats could not have dealt with cinema and Manchin other than just complaining about them. It was their job to hold their coalition together and to hold their coalition accountable. And so they failed, Black people, period. End of story. I don't care how much y'all try to give them a pass. They failed us. And the only thing we got out of them over these last 3 years was Juneteenth as a holiday that we was already taking off. Okay? Nothing substantive. They can't talk about reparations, but spend hundreds of billions of dollars in other foreign countries, fighting wars that have nothing to do with us. Ukraine has got more money than the descendants of enslaved Africans ever will get. 70 billion here, 40 billion there. Israel getting billions and billions of dollars. Everybody gets something. But us, you get a hate crime bill. You get a hate crime bill. You get an executive order. You get X number of billions of dollars. We get kente cloth and Juneteenth. And then you wonder why black people are apathetic in this election. And trying to scare us with Trump isn't working. That's what we keep trying to tell you. You're going to have to figure out how you reach black folk based upon tangible things that are going to come our way, and not just trying to scare us with Trump. I say all that to say this. You remember 2020, on the heels of George Floyd, we saw an eruption of activism. Social media, people out marching, raising money through GoFundMe accounts, spreading awareness about issues that might otherwise have remained unheard of. It was somewhat inspiring, but it has its downfalls. Because see, this culture of online activism, social media activism, is this phenomenon that we now call performative activism. And it's not just something that has become common among individuals. It has become common among powerful organizations and institutions. It's become common among Fortune 100 companies who want to pretend that they're being altruistic and fighting for justice causes. See, what we know is that above individual actions, the actions of large corporations and powerful organizations speak loud and should lead the way of impact. And we'd like to see institutions invest in the issues that we care about and to meaningfully engage and ensure that our voices matter. So what happened was a lot of these organizations wrote checks. Just, yeah, find you a Negro organization and write them a check and do a press conference. And then we can show that we're being altruistic. With no real investment, no real commitment, no real accountability with the checks they wrote. Mass Mutual, right here in our city, wrote a $500,000 check to an organization that had not been on the ground floor of addressing issues of police accountability, that had never been at the grassroots level addressing that issue. And the organizations that were actually addressing the issues didn't get a dime. But they did a big press conference. We wrote a $500,000 check to the Negroes. That's performative activism. That's performative activism, or what we call slacktivism. It's when a person or an organization does something for show, but there's no real commitment to the cause. They post something on social media, but they don't follow through with any meaningful actions. They attempt to show solidarity publicly for social clout, but they don't genuinely support the cause. This happens all of the time. They put the black square up, on Blackout Tuesday. They put the um, Free Palestine, up. Um, but yet, when it comes to actually sacrificing and doing what's necessary behind the scenes, when there are no cameras, when you're not posting a selfie of you holding your sign, that's where the rubber meets the road. That's when we see how dedicated you really are. We saw that. Y'all remember that Blackout Tuesday? We saw millions of black squares um, of people showing that they were down with the movement. They were down. But a lot of this is performative. And unfortunately, let's just keep it a buck. A lot of times, what we see, even in the black community, among folks, is nothing but being performative. Okay? A lot of times, even among us, so-called activists, or what we call actorivists or slacktivists, are doing it because it's sexy, it's in vogue, it's in right now. Being woke, active is in, and they figure it's a way that I can get some attention. I can get noticed. And then you have folks who they get a little taste of exposure and they get addicted to it. Little taste of it, get their name in the paper. Ooh, they get on the news. Ooh. Now they call a press conference every other day. For any and everything, because they need that fix. They need that validation. They need those clicks and those likes and all of that. And see, real activism ain't about clicks and likes. I came up in the old school. Now that don't mean I'm old. But I accept my years. Yeah. When there was no social media, there was no Facebook, no Instagram. Couldn't post ourselves on the gram. Look at me with my sign. There was none of that. Look at me at the march. We didn't have that. We didn't have that. We had to be dedicated to a cause when there was very little exposure of what we were doing, because we were dedicated to the cause. And when we did try to bring attention to it, it was up to the white-run media as to whether or not they would cover it. We didn't have black media outlets and the such. And even today, we don't really have them. Not daily. So we worked behind the scenes to affect substantive change. This generation of activists are not used to that. They're used to instant gratification, instant exposure. Because, and even if the media is not going to be there, somebody's going to be there live streaming it. We got to get our attention. Got to get our attention. The bigger issue of whether or not this is going to affect change sometimes gets lost in the mix. And the reality is, activism has made stars out of people. You go to Ferguson and other places, Baltimore, and people have literally launched careers from the activism space. And I'm not hating on them for that. But that's not what it's about. But people have now latched on because they've seen it done now. Oh, so-and-so got a book deal out of this. So-and-so got on BET. So-and-so got this position and this job because of this. So-and-so got this contract over here, all based on the activism space. So-and-so got 1 million followers now. Now they're an influencer. Yes, it has swelled the heads of many folk who have lost touch with the grassroots causes. And now it's about getting on BET and CNN and, on the Grio and here, there, and everywhere. See, and then to my non-melanated brothers and sisters, the problem we've had with their performative activism is they've been able to opt in and opt out. 2020, they opted in because Trump was in the White House, and we're going to opt in and pretend that we're down with this anti-police violence issue so that we can help motivate you all to vote Democrat in the election. Now that the election is over, where are all those allies? Have you ever asked yourself where your non-melanated friends are since the George Floyd protests? It ain't like George Floyd is the last brother who died at the hands of rogue police officers. But have you asked yourself where those non-melanated allies went? When Jalen Walker was executed by police in Akron, Ohio, shot at 90 times, hit with 67 bullets for a traffic violation. Where were all the George Floyd allies when Jalen Walker was executed? Oh, the Democrats were safely tucked in at the White House. So their allyship was conditional. See, we've got to understand that the lines between genuine allyship and performative activism sometimes gets blurry. And it's important to be able to know the difference. What people say, what people post should always be backed up with action. Should always be backed up with action. If ain't no action behind it, it's meaningless, it's empty. Good morning, caller.
Morning. I was trying to figure out how to stream you guys because the tuning thing never ever works for me anymore. And I seen a post that said you guys had a new streaming platform.
If you go to WTCCFM.org, you can click listen and you can stream it that way.
All right, TCC.org.
WTCCFM.org.
FM.org. Okay.
Yes, sir. 413-736-2781 is the number here. There should be some action behind the words, behind the posts, behind the money, behind the scenes, in order for it to be genuine, in order for it to be real. If you're going to be a true ally, you need to be cognizant of when you're speaking out about issues and whether you know what you're talking about. Um, um, Many times our so-called allies surprise you when you find out their stance on certain other issues. Like a lot of y'all are shocked that your non-melanated ally friends who was down with the George Floyd protests are also supporting Israel's genocide of Palestinians. And y'all thought they was allies. Y'all thought they was down with the cause. Y'all thought they had our backs. Then something happens and you get shocked when you find out. A lot of those same allies were very supportive of the first black president of Harvard being ousted. Yeah, a lot of them are down with the Zionist agenda. Bro Walker, you're in the space.
Good morning, Bishop. How you doing?
I'm good. You?
First of all, even though you're a bishop, I gotta say you're preaching to the choir this morning.
All right.
You're talking about some things that I witnessed firsthand. When Ferguson happened, and even if you go back to Mike Brown, but Ferguson was it's sort of like the catch point for everything we're talking about now. The people who originally test were poor and working black people. Those are people who were on the ground. Those are people who were living life. Those are people who might have been in and out, had some issues with the law, but they were all poor and working class people. They were out there pushing back against, basically brutalized them. For what happened in Ferguson was the culmination of something that had been brewing for like 23 years. When they were out there, they were so busy trying to fight for survival and push back against the system that they did not see all these people you're talking about swoop in and start taking over that movement away from them and start directing it into these channels that had nothing to do with why people were out there in the streets. People were out there pushing against police brutality and white supremacy. What happened and what got modeled in Ferguson was that you could take black protests and you could direct it into all these other agendas and all these other people's goals and beliefs that didn't have anything to do with why people were really out there protesting. That's why you saw people out there protesting for gender issues. That's why you saw people out there protesting for feminist issues. And that's why that's been replicated all over the country every time there was protests. And ironically, the only time that's been able to be stopped is with what happened in Palestine right now, what's going on in Gaza. They tried to pull some of that same stuff that they did in Ferguson and Gaza, and the Palestinians said, no, we're not divided by gender. We're not divided by sexuality. We're fighting against an oppressive government. And if we could have kept that energy here, we might have had a lot more than we got in the last 2 to 4 years. 2020 could have been the moment where black people got significant political gains in this country and they got deflected into dancing in the streets and pop locking in electoral politics. And I'm done.
Exactly what you're saying, brother. Appreciate you. And furthermore, they basically monetized Black Death. They monetized Black Death. And further to Brother Walker's point, many of the activists that came out of the Ferguson era are folks who have been very antagonistic when it comes to black men in America. And it's amazing to me, and sisters, y'all gonna get upset with me, but it is what it is. A lot of our female activists sometimes seem to be more committed to the gender issues, the sexuality issues, than they are to black issues. And they come down on black men, antagonize them, speak ill about them, but yet and still they make their name off of being advocates whenever it comes to a black male being murdered by police. So it's amazing to me how they're the first ones on the scene when it comes to black men being murdered by police, but then speaking against black men that are alive. How you advocating for dead black men and you got no love for living black men? Now that's a whole nother subject for a whole nother radio show that we'll get into it, but I just had to throw that out there. 413-736-2781. Amy, you're in the space. Good morning, Amy. While Amy is connecting, 413-736-2781 is the number if you want to chime in on the conversation talking about performative activism. Amy, you got the microphone.
Hey, y'all. Thank you for bringing me up, Bishop. I wanted to start with a joke and just say, do y'all know how hard it is for me to be a white black activist? Oh, my God. I'm Amy. I grew up in Houston, and I've been doing activism work since I was a teenager. I won a historic case against the state, and I'm still fighting battles that I'm showing up when people use other people's names and have big organizations and they don't produce results for people. I'm somebody people call when they've given up hope. And so I have to get results for people regardless. And I gladly risk my life for things, seriously. And I just want you to know I'm a good white person, and I hope y'all take the time to get to know me.
All right. Thank you, Amy. 413-736-2781. Put your request in the Twitter space if you want to chime in on the conversation today. My advice to good white people like Amy, and she described herself like that, so I'm not putting any label on her. But my advice would be find a way to amplify voices from marginalized communities. Oftentimes, the problem we have with our non-melanated brothers and sisters is they want to direct the talking points. They want to tell black people the tone and the tenor that they should use when addressing issues of oppression against them. You don't get to tell us how we are to respond to our oppression. To be a good ally, you should be amplifying voices from marginalized communities. When you're talking about those sensitive topics, it's important that you don't speak over the people that are being affected by those issues. You don't speak for them, you don't speak instead of them, and you don't speak over them. You amplify their voices, you amplify their concerns, and you amplify them by offering the opportunities to the people who have lived these experiences and who have knowledge about the issues, who can use your platform or your resources to speak about it. Then you ought to also consider how you can address those issues within your various organizations. In what ways does the movement that you're claiming to support relate to the culture of the organization that you belong to? Think about how you can address inequities in your own system that may be reflected in the movement that you're trying to support. And if you're not sure about that, ask the people in your organization who are affected by it for their feedback. Ask them how you can be supportive, how you can be of assistance. Don't assume that you know. Don't assume that you have the answers as to what black people and other marginalized people need. That's one of the biggest mistakes that people make when they want to be allies and they want to help to advocate for marginalized communities, is to come into a community with an agenda already in hand, thinking that you know what that community's needs are, and that you're going to come in an altruistic way and help solve the needs of that community without ever talking to the people in that community that are affected by the issues that need to be addressed. Do some research. Talk to the people that are affected. Hear their voices. Amplify their issues. Amplify their voices. 413-736-2781. 2024 is the time that we get rid of performative activism and we do substantive things. We do substantive things. Here's the other issue I'll speak to, and this is applicable both locally and nationally. Every individual, every organization has their own niche. They have their own area of priority. They have their own space for which they feel passionate about organizing and advocating. And simply because someone or some organization doesn't speak to the issues that you have prioritized doesn't mean they're not doing good work. And we have to resist the urge to go on the attack against people that we can potentially work together when our priorities align, simply because they're not doing what we think they ought to be doing or speaking what we think they ought to be speaking. We have to learn how to operate in our own lanes. And when opportunities come that we can work together in unity, then we do that. But part of the problem is we have folk who are spending all their time attacking other folk in their own community because those folk aren't doing what they think they should be doing. You can't bully people into doing or saying what's on your agenda. And a mature activist will understand this. I remember years ago, Michael Ann Busey and I would have, conversations on a regular basis as the president of the NAACP, and she was over Arise for Social Justice. And we worked on certain things that they weren't involved in, and they worked on certain things that we weren't involved in. And when the opportunity came for us to work together on certain things to be more effective, we did that. When we were dealing with police misconduct issues and voting issues and stuff, Arise wasn't deeply involved in that. And while Arise was dealing with issues around the homeless and other issues, we weren't involved in that. And then when it came time to come together on certain issues, like affecting change with ward representation and others, we worked together. But I wasn't attacking Michael Ann because she was silent on this. And she wasn't attacking me because I was silent on that. She worked in her lane, I worked in my lane. That's the way the things go. There's some people who are passionate about the recidivism rate, and they are going to work in the prison system, advocating for those that are affected by the prison industrial complex. That's their area. That's their passion. Some folk are passionate about dealing with the homeless issue. Some people are passionate about dealing with the migrant issue. Some people are passionate about dealing with the police misconduct issue. And everyone has the right to work in the area of their passion and their priority without being attacked because they won't champion your particular agenda. Work in your agenda area, in your area of priority. Do it with passion. Do it with excellence. Work with the people that are willing to work with you in that area. Let's stop wasting time at shooting shots at other black folk because they ain't saying what I think they ought to say. And they not doing what I think they ought to do. We grown people. You don't get to dictate to other people what their agenda and what their areas of priority ought to be. But where we overlap, let's work together. Let's work together. It's really that simple. But we run around here. Oh, Lord, have mercy. Doing Facebook Lives to talk about other black people. You know, there's something wrong when you literally spend 3 to 4.5 hours a week doing Facebook Lives to just talk smack about other black people. Do you know how much productive work you could be doing in terms of organizing or, hell, catching up on your sleep, spending time with your family or whatever? And here's the thing, I said this the other day. If you literally have to spend 90 minutes 3 times a week to talk about me, I've already won the argument. I've already won the debate. Because I'm so important in your world that you dedicate a significant amount of time out of your life talking about me. If you literally spending 3 to 4.5 hours a week, every week, to talk about Talbert, boy, Talbert is occupying space in your head free of charge. And you really need to get a life. I'm not stressing about who's not on my bandwagon, about who's not speaking from the same song sheet, singing from the same song sheet that I'm singing from. I'm not stressing about who's not speaking to the issues that I determine are priority for me. What I'm going to do is work with the people who are willing to work with me on an agenda that will affect positive change. I'm not going to spend X number of hours talking about you ain't speaking my issue because you bought and sold. You ain't speaking my issues because you this, because you that, because you. But that's where we are in my city. Writing articles about black people, doing Facebook Lives talking about black people, and yet the city is rotating and going on its axis and doing its thing. And nothing that you're saying or doing is making a bit of difference in our community or in the city. But hey, beat yourself on the chest. I called them out. I called them out. And what's the net result of that? Really, seriously, that's a serious question. What's the net result of I called them out? Let me help y'all here, and I gotta go. I'll be back on Friday. Let me help you out. Let me help you out. For all y'all who called them out, you calling me out, whoever you are, and for whatever purpose or reason you so-called called me out or called whoever out, guess what? It didn't take one crumb of food off of my table. It didn't deplete my bank account. It did not diminish my influence with the people that I have influence with. It had a net zero effect on my life. I lost absolutely 0 hours of sleep. I mean, at the end of the day, you calling me out had a net sum zero effect on whatever it is you're advocating for, whatever it is I'm advocating for, and on the black community as a whole. All it did was add to the drama and our proclivity to get involved in mess. It's like the Cat Williams thing. Everybody acting like they Cat Williams. I'm spitting truth like Cat. I like Cat. Everybody Cat Williams. At the end of the day, what was the net gain for the black community of Cat Williams? Nothing. Nothing. Y'all ran to the shade room to Baller Alert. Y'all ran to see what Ice Cube had to say. Y'all ran to see if Steve Harvey had something to say. Y'all ran to see if this one had a response. And at the end of the day, what is the net result on our culture and on any of those folks? Nothing. Nothing. Good morning, caller.
Hey, Bishop, you need to sign off. This program's running, sir.
So there's a net gain of nothing by doing that. Listen, I'll be back with you on Friday on the Black Love Experience. Tune in. If you're looking for a place to worship, check us out at the Spring of Hope Church of God in Christ, 35 Alden Street, Springfield, Massachusetts. The Brick Church right there at Sixth Corner. There'll be prayer, praise, and preaching. We're building better tomorrows by changing lives today. Lift Every Voice lecture series coming up in February. You don't want to miss it. February 13th, 15th, 22nd, and 29th. Look for the list of speakers. Till the next time I talk to you and you talk to me, always remember, God loves you. So do I. Peace and blessings.